This is the cartery. Notice I'm planting my hand on the table, I'm pushing the button, and then I'm taking small swipes. I'm leaving about a millimeter of covering, maybe less, but I'm just taking small swipes at it. And leaving my hand anchored to the table, pressing the button, and lots of control. Notice how the cut is only about as wide as the tip on here. This is my variable temperature soldering iron. It's set to 700 degrees right now. That is degrees F, and that's going to be too hot. And you can see it's cutting, even though I'm moving quickly, it's cutting a wide swath there. So now I'm going to turn it down to about 500. All right, now it's about 500. And that's tearing a little, so let's go up a little bit warmer. Try about 600. And it's reached temperature. This is 600 degrees F. And it's cutting nicely about the width of the soldering iron tip. So again, we're going to brace our hand against the table, and we're going to take small swipes at it rather than trying to follow the whole edge in one quick motion. I'm going to leave a little bit hanging on there. Supposed to have a little better lighting than this, but we're getting there. Notice I'm bracing my arm, I'm just taking small swipes at it. I'm leaving little tabs connected that will cut out at the end. That'll help support this is the fin. And here the glue didn't stick real well, so I'll come back and glue that. So that's the secret, is just short swipes rather than trying to move too quickly and having the temperature set right. Here I'm using a little bit of the glue and solvent, and I'm wrapping up that little edge. I put a little glue on there, and then I just wrap it up with the brush. Maybe it needs a little bit more in the seam there. And push it in place with the brush, and it's not coming off once you do that. So I'm kind of stroking up from the bottom so it doesn't pull the covering off. Now I can come back and try and get the rest of this cut. All right, now we're down to the last few tabs here. I don't need covering on these legs on this, so I'm cutting right against the leg, and we'll peel off what's left there. All right. Looks like I've got a little bit more coming off here. Try and get this back on. This can be a pain. I got in a hurry here. Probably should have wrapped it on while it was still hanging from the frame. Get wrapped on what you can before you try and work on the loose spots. I'm using my finger to gently comb it up onto there. So we'll just keep working those edges. That was a bad idea, setting it down onto the table. Because the glue will wick under and stick the covering to the table. Never a good idea. So I'm working on getting these edges sealed on, the ones that are still touching. Obviously, could have used a little more glue assembling this. And now we work on this part that's come loose. Now work adjacent to it and make sure we're going around the corner with the covering, working up to the loose area. Then I'm going to put some glue on the balsa and try and comb the covering over the balsa. This is never ideal. I would have been better served by spending a little more time making sure the covering was firmly fastened before I started cutting. Sorry, the angle's not good for you, but I've got to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm just putting glue on the wood, not the covering. If you put glue on the loose edge of the covering, when it's not attached at all to the wood, it'll just ball up, and you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get it unfurled and reattached to the wood. Looks like we were successful in reattaching it here, so I don't have to break out some more covering. Just checking all the edges, make sure we're folded around and sealed down with a little bit of the glue and solvent mixture. And I'm using a heavier mix, probably a 70-01 or something. 70% solvent, or 70x of solvent and 1x of glue, 3M77. And if you've got some stubborn parts, which these fins tend to be, that can help you get it stuck on. So I think that's about it. I'll put something under it so it doesn't stick to the table. And we'll call that done.